Welcome back to another Secrets of the Pros. I'm your mastering engineer here, a musician and mixing engineer, and Ray. Right now we're going to talk about the basics here. We're talking about Studio One 4 and how to get things started. If you guys want to mix in Studio One, man, this is one of the leading DAW out there, man. A lot of people in these big studios are using it. PreSonus is a authentic professional brand, and so I'm gonna hit you up and let you know how you can use this software. It's so easy, man. Easier than Pro Tools, all these DAWs in my personal experience, right? So yeah, let's get to it. So I'm using version 4.5, and you can now import video and edit the audio and export the video down. You can also add your artwork. This is my one Shift the Producer Pro Designs. You can do that. So basically, when you open up Studio One, it's gonna look like this when you install it and everything. You have your setup here. Um, if you're connected to the internet, they can give you demo tutorials, the news feed. You can go directly to SoundCloud. You can connect with SoundCloud here. This is your artist profile area that you can put your artwork. You can put your website. And we have a three section here. We have create a new song, which you can go ahead and create your rhythms, record vocals, whatever. Creating a new project is on mastering, right? Because you can mix, you can master in Studio One, and I mean mastering as in like mastering the songs track by track for a CD exportation, and imprinting your artwork on an MP3 file. It has a built-in suite for that, and you have your start page here. You have the song, and you have project. So if I click on the start page, if I go on the song page here, it's gonna ask me. It's gonna let me look for whatever song I was working on. If I go on a project page, it's gonna ask me for the ones import track for DTP image to master. But so let's get down to it. So yeah. So first thing is first. These are all the songs that I'm doing recently. That's the latest one, mixing Usher 808, the one I did a tutorial with. So first of all, you gotta set up your sound card. You have file. You can open your song, new project. You have view. You can go on the start page. But I don't want you to get confused with all of this stuff. So you go on file and you go on, let's go on Studio One. I'm going to go to options, right? So we'll bring up the options here. This is all you need to know to get things started. Options, you have general, location, and audio setup. You also have external devices, which include your MIDI keyboards. And this one here, I'm using the Axiom Pro. So you just plug in your USB into your computer or laptop, and you go on edit, and you can connect. It'll show up here. Right there is this advanced setting here, but I wouldn't recommend you mess around with that. Locations is where you store your VST. I don't mess around with file types, a sound set or instrument library. This is where Studio One store its own built-in libraries. VST, where I have my, for example, my Steinberg plugins, my IKM multimedia, Kontakt, Native Instrument, and those stuff. And if they're not showing up, you can always reset the blacklist there. I'll do more on that. I'm just showing you what location is. This is where you can, like if I go and add, and I know my plugins is on drive C. Let's go to program files. I go to let's say something like Slate Digital. I know my Slate plugins is in here. I'm going to select folder, and Studio One's going to scan that folder there, and it's going to show up. So that's in location. General is just talking about like appearance. You want the color, the coloration of Studio One. Notice a change. So I don't mess around with this much. The main thing is location. You can find your VST plugins. You add it, and external devices. You hook up your MIDI keyboard and audio setup. Three things. So on audio setup here, I have audio device. In this case, I'm using the voice meter here input. link me up if you want me to show how you can get this thing. It's free, and this is how I'm doing the tutorial as well. But normally on the audio device, I'm using the Hammer DSP external sound card with the fire wire with laser light hookup. So I would normally select Hammer DSP. And let's say if you have M-Audio 1 or Universal Audio, then that will come on this list right here. You're going to pick that. And you can go on your control panel as well. And that's going to bring up your external sound card changes. Here is the 512 latency setting, the 44 kilohertz. I'm going to go to processing. And I'm using a 64-bit computer here. So that's about the audio device. I'm going to show some more stuff as well. I'm going to get a little bit in depth here. But so that's the audio device. So I'm going to recap again. External devices, which is your MIDI keyboard. You select your MIDI keyboard. It's going to show up here when you plug in USB. You could hit the reconnect button, and you can get some MIDI signals. Audio setup. You're going to select your audio device, which is your sound card, M-Audio, UAD, whatever. Locations is where you install your VST. You can add the folder. So I hope that makes sense, right? And so let's say I want to create a new song. I'm going to go to new song, and here they have styles which they create templates from it. They have interfaces, audio box, whatever. But what I normally do, I go on user. I have my own template already set. But I'm going to show what, since you're starting for the first time. Here you can set the sample rate when you're building your song. If your interface supports up to 96 kilohertz, you can select 96 kilohertz, to record your music. You can set it to 32-bit as well. Normally, I'm using 44 kilohertz with 24-bit. Because the reason why I'm not using 88 or 96, I can build a rhythm or a composition of a song in 88 and 96, but guess what? I can't record the vocals on 88.2 or 96 because the interface I'm using only supports up to 48. So I'm using 44.1. And here's a resolution, which is 24-bit. You can use 32-bit. You can set the duration of the song, time-based bars. You can set the tempo, and you can put stretch audio files to song tempo, which is a cool thing. For example, if I'm recording a song, right, and or let's say I imported a session which is all wave files, no MIDI keyboard or nothing, and I have this thing checked, I can adjust the tempo of the entire project, and it's going to stretch the audio files to the song tempo. So it's like you're turning the wave file into a MIDI instrument. So let's go ahead and I hit OK. And you're going to see this. Man, what do I do, Ray? Now you have two windows, right? You have the edit window here, and you have the mix window here. And the shortcut for that, I believe, is F3. So if I hit F3, I'm going to bring up the mix window here. So you have edit. Yeah, I have a mix window. Over here is the browse. So if I hit the browse here, it'll tell you about instruments. I can click on instruments. It's going to show all my instruments here. Here's the Korg M1, the IKMO, the mod bass, the Artura, the Xpan. Normally, this is how I have it set up. Let's go back to home. If you go on effects, it's going to bring all the effects here. Audio ease, Altiverb, and so forth and so forth. Files, pool. So normally what you do, and here is plugin manager, which is really cool. I can click on this, and I can, let's say I just installed a new plugin. All I'll do is hit update, and Studio One is going to go through and find that latest one that you did, just that one, and it's going to apply it, and right off the bat, the plugin is going to show up in your DAW here. So I'm going to click on instrument here. If I click on effects, it's going to show all my effects, all the brand, by the brand name, like for Waves, PreSonus, we have analog delay. If I go on loops, this is where it will show loop files and stuff. Files is representing your desktop, cloud, SoundCloud, but I don't use loops. I use the effects and instruments window. So now I'm going to leave it on instruments when I'm ready to pull my instrument across. So that's to explain this area right here. So here's the edit window here, and here is the arrow key. If you see these stuff, it looks just like Pro Tools. You have the little pencil tool here where you can draw in automation. Also, let's see if I can draw in something right now. If I give it a free hand here, for example, I'm gonna drag the M1 across here, and it automatically loads up the instrument on an instrument track here. I could get my pen tool and I could draw my notes. If I double click on this block here, it's gonna bring up the piano roll. So let's remove this track here again. So if you want to add track, you just normally go on track, add tracks, right? Or you can hit the letter T, and it's gonna bring up this window. Here is the type, where it's you can either choose audio if you want to record audio, as in vocals or live instrument. You can go on instrument, and it'll open up an instrument track which has nothing on it. All I have to do is drag my let's say I drag my Nexus keyboard on this track, and it's gonna connect to it. There it is. Nexus is ready to go. I hit my MIDI keyboard, and if your keyboard is not hitting you up, you can drag down a little bit here, and you can go on configuration right under inputs. There it is, and it's going to show, if it's not connected, you can go on reconnect, and it'll read your MIDI keyboard. So that's another way how you can load up your instruments, right? I can either drag the instrument across, and it's going to reload the track and everything. It's ready. Or I can go ahead and go to track, add tracks, and I can select instrument, one track, or I can choose more, new instrument or existing instrument, which I can add. Like, for example, if I go, let's add new instrument. There's a track. I'm going to add the Korg, right? I'm going to add the Korg keyboard to that track. And let's say I want to add another instrument to the same track. So let's go ahead and we go to track, add track. We're going to say existing track. Here's the Korg. Here's the Korg right here. And I hit OK. It's going to add another track. And if I load up something else on this track here, we can switch between the two. I can control the M1. I can go to Nexus. Now here's a cool thing. What else you can do? Here is the M1 here. Let's pick up piano. And I'm adding a track. Let's say existing M1. Let's see here. Let me show you the easy way. Here's the M1 here. If I wanted to combine a sound, I can grab the Nexus and drag it right here. It's gonna tell you, do you want to replace or combine the instrument M1 DDMF bridge. This is a software that I use to make 32-bit plugins work on 64-bit DAW. If I click replace it, Nexus is gonna replace M1. If I click on keep, it's gonna keep both of them. And here's what we do: we want to combine. So I'm gonna click on combine, and check this out. I have the Nexus here and the M1. So if I click on a little MIDI icon here, I can cycle between the M1 here, and I can cycle between the Nexus. So check this out. I can play the Nexus keyboard, and the Nexus keyboard is also playing around with the M1 keyboard. If I can take down the volume a little bit, there you can hear the piano playing around with the Nexus, combining both instruments on one track. So that's a very good thing if you want to layer a sound. If you want to detach it, you can always just turn it off right there, and it's so wonderful. You can combine sound right off the bat. Let's say I want to take it off, right? Like I said, you can go right here. I can go to this little down button. I'm going to click remove, and we're back to just the M1 here. I can click on the M1 here, and there we are, right? So that's how we add instruments here. Now, if you don't click on this little icon here, you won't hear anything. This is your monitoring button. If I click on this, I can hear the piano that I'm playing. And here is my record button. Now, on top of here, just like Pro Tools, and this is what I love, like a Pro Tools and Cubase combined. This is my all-purpose selection tool here. If you want, you can just use this. This is a range tool, but now I'm going to click right here to light up all these ones, except this one here. And let's say this is also your input quantize. So when I play, it's going to automatically correct the instrument or any faulty playing to time. This is your quantizing. You know about this right here. Quarter note, eighth note. You can set it to bars. Snap. It's going to be how closely it snaps to these little lines here. For example, if I turn it off on seconds, you see it disappear. We want to do it on bars, right? We want to get everything snapping. And this is your snap tool as well. So it snaps to that bar. This one is a ripple edit. We're going to talk about that later on down the road. This is the auto scroll, which you're playing across the screen is going to scroll as well. So we covered how to add an instrument track. Now let's go back to tracks, add tracks. Let's try an audio, and here, right down here, the format, I can select stereo, and I can get a stereo track here. So I can add OK, and this is the audio track here. Now the next thing, guys, I said I was going to cover on the sound card information, right? So I'm going to go on Studio One, I'm going to go to options, and we're going to go back to audio setup here. And here we have song setup, right? This is what I wanted to show you guys. I click on song setup. Here I can select sample rate, which is up to 96 kilohertz here. And I can select the resolution. And frame rate is more for the video. You have that option here. Here's the stretch and audio files, the tempo thing, like I showed you earlier on the beginning screen. If we go on meta information, here is where I can imprint my MP3 picture artwork on my song. I can have the name of the artist, the title, the year, and here we go on I/O setup. Now this is where you can set up your inputs for your microphone. For example, I'm using the left input, the mono from input 1 from the DSP outboard gear. So that's pretty much straight and simple. If you want to add more, you can go to add mono input, and here you can create that right there. You can remove it. You want to add a stereo. If you have stereo mics, you can add that. That's the input section right there. There it is. It's lighting up in blue. Here is the output section, which I'm using the voice meter connected to my Hammer DSP, which is the left and right audio. Pretty straightforward, guys. So you can use that to set up your microphone so you can get good signal and stuff. Just wanted to show you guys that, right? So what else we have in add tracks here? We have automation. So if I go ahead and I can change the color as well, maybe green or something. Here is where I can record automation. So if I have my piano here and I'm recording something, and I wanted to use an automation track, I would just go ahead, bring this thing down, and I'm gonna add automation to the chord keyboard. So I'm gonna go to add and remove, and I'm gonna go to instruments, and let's go down to let's see here. There's the M1. So let's say I wanted to control the volume. So I'm gonna click volume. I'm gonna add it. This is similar to Pro Tools, and here it lines up your automation track. So guess what I can do? So when the piano hits, right when it reaches 10, 10, 10, I'm gonna let it get louder. So I'm gonna click one point here. I'm gonna click little point here. I come in the middle, and my cursor turns into a H. I'm gonna pull it up, and it's gonna get louder. Check out the fader over there. Check it out. You see that? Keep an eye right over here. As easy as that, you can automate. And check this out. I can also go on the keyboard itself, the M1, and I can adjust the effects. Let's see something here. Let's see what effects it has. I want to bring on the hall when it hits the second note, right? So let's do that. So all I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go on where it is. Where is it? Where is the right button here? Bypass. There should be a right button here. Oh, I think it's because I already have the automation track. Let's delete the automation track here. Okay, here it is. Or let's undo that, actually. Let's see. Where it is. Yeah, let's delete the automation track because it's already showing up here. So I'm going to remove that track. And I'm going to bring back the M1. Now, here is the auto a button right here, automation mode, right? So we don't have to add automation track. We can do it right from here. It's still going to reveal the automation track, but this is a point on mode how you can do it. I'm going to click right here. I'm going to click on right. And I'm going to go back into the keyboard. And I'm going to turn the knobs when I hit play, right? So let's do that. Turn it up. And I'm going to stop there. Now let's see if what I did work. I'm going to click from right to read. I'm going to play back. Okay, apparently I'm not getting that automation there. I will probably need to go back in the knobs. I'm going to retry this thing one more time, guys. Probably because I did the combination thing. I'm going to drag the keyboard here. And I'm going to record the keyboard. I'm going to choose piano. And don't be afraid to hit me up, guys. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and go down to right. Here we go. Add a reverb. Bring it down. And I'm going to hit it to read. To see if what we just did is going to be recorded on the M1 itself. Normally it should. But for some reason, I believe because this is going through the bridge, I'm going to try with another instrument, guys. So I'm just showing you how you can navigate around, right? Let's see if it's going to... Let's use a total different instrument. I won't use the one that I'm bridging here. Let's use... Let's try the... Let's see here. Let's see what can we use? I'm gonna try the FM8. I'm gonna pick an instrument. And I'm gonna go down to effects here. I'm gonna play around with the delay. So let's record the FM8. And I'm gonna play it back. I'm gonna hit right here. I'm gonna mess around with effects. Let's go ahead. Notice that I'm seeing a line here already coming across. That means it's automating, right? I'm gonna go to read and I'm gonna play. Check out the knob. And you're hearing a little bit a little bit of dirty sound because I'm changing it real time, but you get what is happening there. So I'm just showing you spot on you can automate, right? So I just wanted to share that with you guys. So we've covered how to add tracks, audio tracks here. Also add mono or stereo, add automation track. And you can go on file, you can go to save as, and you can automatically Studio One's going to create your destination folder under Documents Studio One. You can name your project folder what you want it to name. So that's how you set up basically Studio One. Next session we're going to talk about the mixer board and then how you can customize your mixer to look like mine. What I usually do across the like for example, if I load up Usher here across the tutorials here, you're gonna see I have all my stuff already loaded up. Here's the edit window, here's the tracks, look just like Pro Tools. So hit me up, guys.